80, 81, or 82. But instead, they put them on LTIR, and then once they got to the playoffs, activate them, and it doesn't matter anymore. Remember the famous T-shirts where it was like, I don't know, $91 million in cap or something like that? It was like $13 million over the cap was like a T-shirt that they had made because then Carolina was complaining that they couldn't compete with a cap team or a team that was so far over the cap or something like that. So that's not going to be a thing anymore, essentially, is what we're getting at. Every single team will have to be cap compliant come playoffs, and they're using the full season's cap, so they have full year AAV. So cap accrual, not necessarily going to be an overutilized thing like it had been in the past, which I think that's the part where I find it weird that they didn't give them more of a runway in that regards. Because if you're, a team like the Leafs where you were hoping, we'll go into the season with some cap space, we can accrue more, and then we can make a big ad at the deadline. Now all of a sudden it's like, well, if we make that ad, it's like it's still going to have to be within the cap compliance of the start of the regular season, not the accrued cap space, which is definitely changes things.
Yeah, just it moves the goalpost once again, because
it makes it harder. It makes it harder to trade and to make big moves. Absolutely, it does.
It does, and like, what do you want if I'm the NHL, you look at your other. I'll put the NBA and I'll put the MLB in there, because NFL, it's harder to make deals in the NFL during in season. We look at the NBA and MLB, how much movement happens in season, right? Especially in the NBA. It's because there isn't this idea of, we got to stick to a budget, and now we're going to hold teams to that. For the first time in a really long, in a long time, because how many years we talked about how many teams were over the salary cap. The NHL was fine with it up until this year. It actually does the kind of, and I was talking with some colleagues about this, now it kind of takes away from that potential excitement of, I'm sure a lot of Panthers fans were excited that they got Marchand and they got Seth Jones.
Yeah.
Because in that trade deadline, we were kind of like, okay, there's some okay moves. Then the Brad Marchand move happened, and it's just like, holy crap, right? The reaction of every single person that saw that trade, because you saw a big move. But then you have a lot of teams who are like, yeah, we would love to make a big move, but salary cap doesn't allow for it. Other than some GMs don't want to trade assets, right? And they want to hold on to these assets. That's a whole other story. But like, majority of the time you hear, just couldn't get a deal done because couldn't make the money work. And now one of the ways that teams thought they could actually do it is being taken away. It's just like, it just makes these trade deadlines less compelling. And I'm a person that writes about trade deadlines, and I'm covering deadlines. And I always say, like, I don't get my hopes up very high when those seasons come around, just because I know that the salary cap just makes it that much tougher to do those sort of deals that everybody would like to see.
Right? It is funny. Like, the topic of conversation around the NHL is like the hard cap system has killed the league and killed momentum and killed the offseason and killed in-season trades and blockbuster trades. The hard cap system, although it's created parity, which I will, credit Gary Bettman for that. It does seem like there is parity and turnover every, 5, 6, 7 years within the league. Sure, that was your goal, it's been accomplished. But it's also kind of made your league stale in terms of player movement. Like the NFL, the NBA is insane. The way that the NBA can move around money, it's wild. And why? Because they have a soft cap system, right? It's the way it is. Like MLB, there's no salary cap. So they can go out and make big trades and add big-time players to their team no matter what. You go and you look at the NFL, like they can restructure contracts, they can cut players, only the guaranteed money actually counts. They can trade, like it just creates a lot more flexibility. The NHL, once that contract's signed, like that's it. Like that's where we're at. And there's no releasing guys mid-season to get rid of it. You can waive them, I guess, but still only a portion of it can be waived. 1.15 million of it can be waived. The rest will still be on your against your cap. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this changes things moving forward. I guess this would benefit teams though that are hit pretty hard by like cap recapture penalties, because that cap would not go against the daily lineup because they're not in your lineup come playoff time. So that's one thing. So teams that have a couple of players who've been bought out, that cap I guess won't go against the playoff cap, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm not sure why they decided to rush this and implement it right away. It does feel like it's something that maybe they could have given a full off season to allow teams to prepare for that, as opposed to kind of dropping it in here after the off season kind of already unfolded. But neither you or I are Gary Bettman. We don't make the decisions. He gets paid very handsomely to make the wrong decisions all the time. Who are we? Who are we to argue with old Jerry Bettman there? All right, on the other side, the Maple Leafs and Dennis Hildeby come to an agreement on a long-term deal. What does that mean? And could a PTO be in the cards shortly? We'll get to that and more next in the Locked On Leafs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.
Today's edition of the Locked On Leafs podcast is brought to you by Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. When you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you've put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visually, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. And that's a big one there. If you feel like you're not saving as much as you think you should, Monarch can help you find inefficient investments that you're making are, things you don't need, like subscriptions that you're paying more than you should. Go and check out Monarch because you don't want to let financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONNHL.
Welcome back into the Locked On Leafs podcast. Mike DiStefano, Dave Morsuti with you, as we are each and every